All right, guys, so this is where we are at with the whole subfloor. We got this whole section already laid down and riveted in. So now we just got to do the second part. But I want to talk about it before I did it because obviously once we put the aluminum on here, you're not going to be able to see anything. I made basically a subfloor frame, 1/16 1-inch angled aluminum and riveted one rivet on each end. I used a level just to make sure that my left and right sides were good. If I ever got water up in the front, I need to find a way to make it drain to the back, to the bilge, to get out. So PVC pipe that I reused, it used to run along that little crevice. It was all my electrical stuff, but I'm doing something different with that. So I'm repurposing that piece, slid it underneath all of the structural beams in the boat, and it runs all the way back. So I had like another little piece in here. I don't know, I had a whole mess of things going on, as you can see. And I didn't think that I don't even think it's aluminum tape, but that tape that I used is gonna hold. That's kind of my one concern. But I'm not foaming this section, and this section. I'm gonna reuse the purple foam up in these areas, and I'm only gonna pour foam to here. That way all the water from up front can run into the center and go into that one CPVC pipe and then out the back of the boat. And just so everyone knows, this is 0.063 aluminum sheeting, not cheap stuff. Definitely make sure to measure twice, 3 times, 4 times. And now that it is all riveted in, it's pretty sturdy. I mean, it's still a little flimsy in some areas, but the foam is going to take all that stuff out. This is going to be my first time doing the pour foam, so I mean, we're going to see how it goes. Tip off of the drill bit inside the hole. Once I fully attached the subfloor, there were a couple areas, like basically where these two meet up, that there's a little bit of a gap there. My concern was the pour foam expanding and then lifting through the gaps between each sheet, and also over there by the ribs where I had to do a little bit of trimming. I put this marine grade sealant. This is 5200. This stuff I even used on the boat in the first build. It's about $18 for a tube of it at Home Depot. So it's a little expensive, but this stuff is definitely worth getting. I took the 5200 and I sealed all the areas I thought that the pour foam was going to expand out of. So I took this 2-inch hole saw, went to each cavity. I made a 2-inch hole on this side and I made a 2-inch hole on that side. And basically the idea is that once we take this pour foam and we have it all mixed together, we're just gonna go ahead, pour it in, and be able to tell from the other side how much of it actually filled up that cavity. And then if I need to end up doing a little bit more and pouring it in on that side, then that's what I'll have to do. The foam that I'm using is a 2-part polyurethane foam, closed cell, 2-pound, 1-to-1 mixed ratio. Also at Home Depot, I got 3 1-quart cups. Basically, we're gonna take part A, pour it into the part A cup. We're gonna take part B, pour it in the part B cup. And then we're going to pour both of those into another cup. Now ideally I wanted to have my third cup a little bit bigger than a quart, but this was the only thing that they had at Home Depot. So I'll only be able to do 12 ounces of part A and 12 ounces of part B at the most in order to mix into part C. to do the pouring and to get a really good stir. It's all about making sure that you have that 1-to-1 ratio and that the stirring is really good, and you got to do it quickly before everything starts expanding. So I've never done this before. This is my first time trying the pour foam, so we're going to kind of figure it out. I have about 8 cavities to fill, and so hopefully within that time I can get this nailed down. So yeah, the boat's ready for pour foam, and then the subfloor is going to be done, and then we're going to be on to the next step. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. So here's like a quarter of the way update. It's not going so good. I started off really good over there, and then I was worried that the foam wasn't really going down into the center. So I came over here to hurry up and try to like fill all this in, and I think it did the same thing. I think it's running down one of the low spots here and not really transferring over there. So I might have to end up making more holes in the center of this. I don't really know yet. You could see a couple little mess ups. Things got a little out of control over here for a minute. But this is where we're at. It was a long night, man. I think a lot of this got filled. So in some places it got filled all the way, and then in others it didn't. So I think from about here forward is good, and then from here back I probably still have to put some holes in the center of the boat and refill the center. Alright guys, so it's been a couple days since I did any of the pour foam, and so everything has had a lot of time to set up and cure. For the most part, everything went really well. It turned out way better than I expected, and I only had a couple little hiccups and mess ups. One of them was back here. I forgot to close up the back side of all those, so that kind of popped through. These were all kind of good, and then I had like a serious explosion over there, and that kind of started to freak me out. But then the rest of this all went really well, and actually these 1, 2, 3, I just got done walking on this, and this one, and this one are completely filled. I do remember using more foam down in this area. So this one, I think from here back, all 5 of these in back, the middles of them are not filled. I don't have much foam left, so I'm gonna have to look at getting more foam, and then I'm gonna have to drill more holes in the center of this. Like, I didn't really want to, but it's just gonna have to happen. Drill some holes in the middle of these 5 areas, and then make sure everything is filled. I'm gonna work on the stuff that I can work on right now until we start actually framing out and doing some stuff to the front deck, which I now have an idea and a plan for what we're gonna do up here as far as a deck.